I'm back on the Lexus GX460 today, and we're going to drain and fill the coolant inside this vehicle. Follow along if you want to see how this is done. This job is to be done every 50,000 miles, and we are due for that job. You'll need a number of tools to complete this work. That includes a jack, wheel chocks, vehicle jack stands, new coolant. It's important to use the OEM fluid here. This is 50/50 pre-diluted from Toyota. Socket set, a reservoir to catch your old fluid, a fluid spill mat, tire iron, panel remover tools. This is a funnel that works with many type of vehicles in order to refill the coolant, and a tube with a specific size inner diameter, link below to get your own. This helps us drain the fluid. So I have my vehicle lifted now with the jack, and I have jack stands underneath. The vehicle parking brake is on, and I have wheel chocks behind the rear wheels. We're safe now, and the vehicle has some clearance now for us to empty the old coolant. We'll remove the coolant from 3 different places on this vehicle. Firstly, from the radiator, that's done through this petcock. We're gonna open this petcock and drain the fluid through this opening. We're also gonna drain fluid from 2 locations on the engine block. The first drain is on the driver's side, right above the tire. There's back in this area here, a valve we're gonna try to open and drain the fluid there. And on the passenger side, also above the wheel, so gonna try to drain some fluid over here from the engine block. Let's first drain the fluid from the radiator. So we have our fluid spill mat on the ground to protect the driveway, our fluid catch container below. So I wanna use this tube, connect it to the outlets of the radiator, put the opposite end of the tube in our fluid catch pan, and then from here we can open up the petcock, turn counterclockwise, and the fluid is now flowing out of the radiator. Now this fluid is green, not the typical pink you see in a Toyota Lexus vehicle. That means that someone at some point added some non-Toyota Lexus coolant to the system. It's going to be good that we drain as much fluid as we can then and pour in the new Toyota Lexus pink fluid. Underneath your vehicle hood, remove the radiator fill cap. That'll allow the fluid to come out more quickly below. While the radiator drains, let's see if we can locate on the driver's side the coolant block drain. So I'll use a panel remover tool, and I'm gonna pull off this little cover. Reach in here with your panel remover tool and pry a little bit. If these retainer clips break, link in the description below to get more. You may in fact be able to leave this in place, but this does give us better visual access at least. It's difficult to see here, but from the driver's side, you can poke through here, and through this opening, you can see a bolt. That's not the bolt we're looking to loosen, but above the bolt and to the left a bit is what we're interested in. You'll see a drain pipe. We're gonna try to connect our drain tube to that, and also above it, a little bolt. We need to loosen that bolt. I'll also say that if you reach your hand in here, you can feel the drain and you can feel that bolt, but it is difficult to see. To loosen up that bolt on the driver's side, we're gonna use a 10mm socket and some extensions out here. I also have a U-joint attached. It's gonna be tricky to show on video, but I'm gonna reach in there and guide this socket with my hands onto that nut. In order to get that socket onto that bolt, I had to use some electrical tape at this universal joint. That allows the universal joint to flex a little bit, but not completely flop down. Believe it or not, my socket is on that bolt to release the flow from this side of the vehicle. I actually did manage to get my drain tube attached to that drain over here, and now that coolant is flowing down into the drain pan. I have a similar situation on the passenger side. Although the drain on this side is a bit more accessible, I use my panel remover tool, and this is the front of the vehicle. I'm gonna remove this cover toward the front side of the vehicle, pop off these retainer clips, and we can already see what we're after. There's a brass 10mm nut here, and the spigot is right below and to the left. Let's try to attach the drain hose to the spigot, and we'll loosen up our 10mm drain nut. So attach our drain tube to that spigot and pass that 10mm socket through this opening to that bolt. The drain tube fell off, but we'll reattach it after fluid flow begins. Turn counterclockwise about 1 rotation. There's the fluid flow. Reconnect the drain tube and allow the coolant to drain into your pan. Back on the vehicle driver's side, tighten up that bolt that we earlier loosened. You want to be careful here. That brass bolt is soft and you don't want to strip it. It's tricky here to see, but I am on that bolt, and I'll tighten it up until it's snug. Passenger side is done draining, so remove the drain tube and tighten up that brass 10mm bolt. Now tighten up the radiator petcock. All the coolant drains are now closed. Because the vehicle at one point had green coolant, apparently added by a prior owner, we're going to completely flush this system using a bunch of water, 3 gallons, run that through the system, Make sure we clean out all the old fluid before we add our OEM pink fluid. So using this kit, choose the appropriate parts that attach this funnel to your radiator cap. This kit has parts to fit many vehicles, so locating the right parts that fit this vehicle, I can easily twist on this funnel to this vehicle radiator. This is a plug. I'll remove that from the funnel. And now fill your vehicle with distilled water. It's best to add the water slowly so as not to overwhelm the system with a bunch of air bubbles. With 2 gallons of water added, there's still some water in the funnel. I'm going to leave that there. The coolant reservoir tank was naturally drained off for the most part in the prior steps. But we're going to add some water in here so we can also clean out this reservoir. Back in the vehicle, we're going to turn on the engine and circulate the water through the system, thoroughly cleaning everything out. If you want to, during this process, you can even drive around the vehicle. I'm not going to do that though. To really circulate all the fluids, I'll turn the heat all the way up in the vehicle. And you want to keep an eye up here at the water fluid level. Make sure water remains in that funnel and it doesn't go empty. You don't want to cause your vehicle to overheat during this time. Add additional water as needed. Also watch your temperature gauge as the engine heats up. You don't want that to go to the H. Really, you want your needle to be vertical eventually once the engine heats up. Revving the engine while in park also heats up the vehicle, circulating your water through the system. Don't worry if you see bubbles in your funnel. This just means that the air pockets are coming out of the cooling system. Drain the engine block again. Also drain the radiator again. The coolant reservoir is not completely empty, so we're going to actually empty it. To do that, pull this off the vehicle, use a 10mm wrench and pull out bolts 1, 2, and 3. The coolant reservoir is free. You can now take it to a sink and fully clean it out. Coolant reservoir is clean, simply reattach. Engine block and radiator is drained to the water. So now we close up all the drains. Close the radiator petcock by turning it clockwise. And now we're ready to add our OEM Toyota fluid. This is already pre-mixed with water. Some coolants do not come diluted. You have to add 50% or so water. Follow the directions on the back of your container. So with our funnel still affixed to the radiator, slowly add fluid. The total fill will be approximately 3 gallons. Add the second gallon. 2 gallons have now been added. Some fluid is still in the funnel. This is perfect. I have another gallon of coolant ready to go and add as needed. And now we're going to burp the system, get all the air bubbles out. Let's go turn the vehicle engine on to start doing exactly that. Turn on the vehicle engine. And just like I did earlier with the water, we're going to let the engine warm up. It'll take 10 to 15 minutes. Turn the heater on full blast. That gets the coolant circulating throughout the entire system. You'll see air bubbles forming in the funnel. This is expected. These air pockets are coming out of the system and through the funnel. Do not let your pink fluid get down too low. Make sure you keep some coolant in this funnel to keep feeding the system more and more fluid as it demands. Also keep an eye on your vehicle temperature gauge. Make sure you don't go up beyond vertical. You definitely don't want to go to the H. At that point, your engine is overheating and you want to turn off the engine. But as long as the air pockets are not preventing fluid flow, you should be perfectly fine. Hitting the gas and revving the engine, you'll see potentially a lot of bubbles form up in the funnel. This is a good thing. Keep revving that engine a little bit to get those bubbles out of your system. You can also give the upper radiator hose a squeeze. That helps work out some bubbles. The engine ran for 20 minutes. The coolant sufficiently burped. I use this plug, put it in the funnel, remove the funnel, and add this fluid to the coolant reservoir. Add additional fluid to the reservoir. The coolant level is now at the full line on the reservoir. Remove the funnel cap from the radiator and replace the original radiator cap. Reattach the flaps on the driver and passenger side by pushing in these retainer clips. I've been driving around the GX for a few weeks now and the coolant level is remaining steady. This was a pretty easy job and gives me much more confidence going forward that this vehicle is going to last a long time with new coolant. I hope this helps you with your project.